to do another post, another live thing. Their directed energy weapons are off the fucking chart right now. So if I drop over dead, that's why. And when I post this video on my blog, davidshurter.com, I'll put the NBC News article that reported that our U.S. Air Force went in front of Congress in 2006 and said they had these weapons in order, and they were going to use them on American citizens to show the rest of the world they were safe. Unless, of course, NBC News lied. Maybe our U.S. Air Force lied. But then I also will put the government paperwork that talks about due from our government, you know? And so you can believe whatever you want. Everyone in those embassies that got hit with this weapon, that were complaining about these weapons, you know what the FBI says? Every fucking one of them was mentally ill. So they only hired mentally ill people to work at a bunch of embassies. That's how it works. Even though our Air Force is on record saying that they had these weapons. And it's just to shut me down. It's to try and shut me up. I woke up this morning and I thought, you know, I missed the boat. Because what I should have done is told everyone that all the Haitians that live in Harlan are abducting the kids. That's what's happening. Fuck, our media would have been right on that. Right on that. Look at how fast they had the Facebook post and the neo-Nazi group that was promoting it. They had that all within 24 hours. Of course, it wouldn't work in Harlan because I don't think there are any Haitians in Harlan. But fuck, what difference does the truth make? You know, I have people in town who will tell me, well, our sheriff, Neil Gross, says that it wasn't his job to count the explosions. When I ask him, so whose job was it to report the fact that there were 2 explosions, not 1? I don't know. What difference does it make? But if Neil says it's not his job, then it's not his job. Even though he's on record right along with me with KETV. You know, it's just, and like I said in the title of this, or the description of this, if I drop over, it was done to me. But fuck, Issac Kappy did a Periscope video where he said he wasn't suicidal, and if something happened to him, he didn't do it himself, and the next fucking day he was dead. And everyone was just like, well, I guess in that 24 hours when he was fine on the Periscope video, he just ended up becoming so overwhelmed with grief that he jumped off the fucking bridge. You know, people will believe whatever dumbass shit they want to believe. And it doesn't have any. But let me point out, especially in my town, because I know people watch this, it was Neil's job to make sure that that thing was reported correctly. It was his job. It is the sheriff's department job to investigate fucking crimes. But Neil is on record defending this group. He's on record. He sent me an email telling me it wasn't their job to count the explosions. He sent out an email that included the Dead Issac Kappy Club. Some of those members were in town bragging to me when Owen perished. But that doesn't make any difference. Sending me live videos of the town doesn't make any difference. You know? So it's not law enforcement's job to investigate crimes. And as far as this, people who don't have kids, don't have any real connection and no real, they don't care. I don't have any fucking kids, and I've been trying to bust this child trafficking shit all my life. Issac Kappy didn't have any fucking kids, ended up dead because he was trying to get this investigated. Lori King didn't have any kids. She ended up dead trying to get this investigated. Her husband, who obviously had a problem with her dying because he ended up dead less than a year later. They didn't have any kids, and yet here we all are fighting for your kids. But people in town where I live, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about child trafficking. They don't give a fuck. It's not their kids. What the fuck do they care about other people's kids for? You know? But they all have kids. And it's bullshit. And as far as the Dead Issac Kappy Club, I'm not engaging any of you. And you know who you are. I don't give a shit how many times you mention me on YouTube. I'm not engaging your asses. Because I know that what you want me to do is engage you so you can try and get my channels taken down because you failed last time. So you want another chance. And I'm not going to give it to you. You know? It's just, it is so frustrating to end up being involved in this. And they do everything they can to fucking pigeonhole you and lock you down. My finances. They go after me constantly with my finances. But they did the same thing to Issac. And Issac was convinced that that they did something to his PayPal and stuff. That's why he wasn't getting donations. No, he wasn't getting donations because no one cared. No one was helping him. When he ended up dead, maybe 2-3 people cared, and they ended up dead, and then nobody cared. That's the whole reason why years ago when Issac Kappy left or got murdered, Fiona left because Fiona was just like, you can't get any of these people to do anything. I put enough out there. How many of you have actually told the police or the FBI, even sent an email saying, hey, this dude has some concerns that probably need to be looked at? How many of you have done that? Not a fucking one of you, probably. Well, maybe a couple of you, because I know a couple of you probably did. One in particular. But that's the reason why. In the arguments that I had with Fiona since Issac Kappy's death, because she's mad at me because I won't get out of this. That's why we're really not, we don't talk, and just, and what she said was, aren't you tired of just being entertainment for these assholes? They don't care. And I couldn't argue that. I couldn't argue. My last videos, all I've talked about is how my family, my father in particular and stepmother, were involved with all of these child abductions. Jacob Wetterling was in between Malacca, Minnesota, where my sister lived, Cindy, and her husband, Ralph Hester, who was the city manager of Malacca. Not hard to find out if they were there. My sister and my brother both lived in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Jacob Wetterling was abducted right in the middle of that, right in the middle of those two places. Johnny Gosh. Sandy and Walt Davis, my aunt and uncle, lived in West Des Moines, Iowa, until my uncle Walt died. So, and Ricky Chaddick, Omaha. And so there's really, you can tell people, but again, maybe I should just say that all the Haitians in Harlan are the ones abducting all the kids. Maybe that will spur people to actually care, even though there are no Haitians, I don't even know if there are any colored people living in Harlan. It's a handful, you don't see any. I've lived in the area for damn near 8 years, at least 9 years. And so, but what does the truth matter anymore? What does the truth matter? that lies seem to, they say that lies will whip around the world 3 times before the truth even gets its shoes on. But it's frustrating, and they have their shit on me so hard that at 3 o'clock this morning, I thought I was going to perish. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. This stuff makes your bones ache. It makes your body ache. It gives you headaches. It is miserable. And if it's not their directed energy weapons, who are they using? Who did they use those directed energy weapons on? Like I said, davidshurter.com. I'm going to post this video and I'll put all that shit like I've done repeatedly over and over and over on my blog. I'll put the NBC News article, and I'll put the government paperwork. But most people want to believe, well, now they want to believe that everybody who complained about this in the embassies, they're all mentally ill. Every fucking one of them in those embassies was mentally ill. They only hired, I guess, mentally ill people to work in the embassies because that makes sense, But people just don't give a shit. And to say that people who don't have kids don't care, obviously we do. What I would say is that people who have kids don't give a shit about anybody's kids but their own. If your kids get abducted, tough luck for you. Get over it. That's how this shit works. It's all about child trafficking. It has always been about child trafficking. That's why I wrote and published, self-published, with my own money, a fucking book to try and expose it. But hey, I guess we can just pretend that it's not happening. And these weapons, they're not caused by any government weapon that they said they had. No, it's Voldemort and his group of Death Eaters and their magic wands. That's what's causing it. It's frustrating. And yeah, if I drop over, I don't have any delusions to this. The same thing that happened to Issac Kappy, the same thing that happened to Lori King, the same thing that happened to Max Spears, people will just forget about it and move on. Wait for the next one to be entertained by. That's how it fucking works. That's the history of it, And all the while, if you actually call people out on that, they'll argue with it. That's not the way it's going to be at all. That's not the case. That's not the case. But that's the history of it. That's how it always works. And the Dead Issac Kappy Club and Lucian Greaves and the founder of the Satanic Temple and all of that, they know that. They know that better than anybody. I'm 1,000,000 fucking years old. I don't see how any of that makes any difference. Because the sad part about it is, for all of you young ass motherfuckers, not one of you is going to get old. So don't worry about it. Not one of you is going to make it to old age. So don't worry about it. I'm lucky, So, it's sad. Because I'm sure I have. And the Dead Issac Kappy Club, the whole Dead Issac Kappy Club, they're all in here now. Because they want to engage me. And they all have fake ass accounts. They have so many fake ass accounts. Well, if it's true that you're lucky to die young, today's a good day to die, motherfucker. Go ahead. Fucking dumbasses that just run their mouths and don't have anything fucking intelligent to say whatsoever. Nothing. They think their ignorance makes them out to be much more than what they already are. But then you have people in my town who will tell me that it's not my sheriff's job to investigate crimes or count how many explosions there were to that gas station. They need something. They do need Jesus Christ. They'll never seek it out. But It's frustrating. It's frustrating. I gave my entire life for this, basically. I have done nothing but try and expose this. That's all I've done. And shit, I watch the news now and realize, fuck, I should have blamed it on the Haitians or I don't know, aliens from outer space. That would have probably worked too, you know? Then the media would have run with it. Then they would have cared. But they don't care about kids disappearing and missing. And all of the shit that I've talked about with my family, there were motive, there was opportunity. My dad was in the area, but it's just bizarre. God, do I have to block out every single person on this thing today? Probably, because they're on top of me, because they want to engage me. You know, they'll be in here. They'll show up. I think that child trafficking is frustrating. I'm sorry that most people that are in here right now find it entertaining and think it's funny. You know, they think it's entertaining. Missing kids that just disappear. It's funny, isn't it? It's funny. It's entertaining. You know, that's the generation that we're in now. Evil has become good. And more than that, evil has become entertaining. They're entertained by evil. They want as much fucking evil as they can possibly get for other people. They want to sit comfortably safe in their own houses, in their mother's basements probably. But if it's all for other people, ooh, it's just fun to watch, you know? And we wonder why everything is falling down and falling the fuck apart. You know? I don't know what to do or say anymore. I don't. And the fact that they are trying to bring me down, and it wouldn't be such a big deal if I realized that they bring me down, all this shit's gonna go away with me. No one will give a fuck. They'll do exactly what they did with Max Spears. They'll do exactly what they did with Lori King. They'll do exactly what they did with Issac Kappy. Oh, the whole time they'll say, that's not happening. That won't happen. I'm telling you that'll never happen. And yet the history is that's exactly what the fuck happens every time. And the fucking child killers that I'm having to try to expose, they know that better than anybody. Anybody. You know? Oh my God. But it's nice that you guys actually, because then I'm able to just block you. Cognitive. I'm just really tired of having to fight this. And I'm tired of being attacked. I'm tired of leaving my house and wondering if my dogs are going to be okay because they threaten to murder my dogs all the time. I've sent that shit to my sheriff. You know what he did? He sent us all a group email giving them the green light to do whatever the fuck they want to me. That's all on my blog. You know? It's all on my blog. That's the reason why the Dead Issac Kappy Club wants to engage me so bad. That's why I don't bother to look at I looked at my mentions the other day and then ended up having to deal with what was on there. Now I've just decided, fuck it, I don't give a shit what they have to say. You know? They know that it gets to me. They know you're letting them know it gets to you. They know it gets to me. You know? I'm about the only one they do get. You know? Jesus. And I don't care if they know. Let them laugh. Because they can't claim cognitive dissonance. And I don't give a shit if they watch. I know they watch. They're obsessed with me. They watch everything I do. Every fucking thing I do. They have videos where they've actually doted over every video I had and took out certain words and then made their own videos putting words that I have said, not in context, you know, to make videos. Do you understand how many hours that had to have taken? You know? They already know they're obsessed with me. They already know they're obsessed with me. Everyone knows they're obsessed with me. Go read the community post, the shit that's underneath, the comments underneath. People are well aware that they're obsessed with me. They're well aware of this game. You know? Jesus Christ. Excuse my language, but yeah, they're paid to do this. They're paid trolls. That's what they are. You think these motherfuckers next door to me are doing it for free? You know? And not only the one that tried that the one that lived beside me and my sister in Erling, the one who was in the one that I have was bitching about on the hour and a half hour and a half video that I have, the then chief of police Derek Yamada, Harlan chief of police Derek Yamada, sitting in my living room for an hour and a half bitching about him, and then him sending his woman police officer over, and then the very person I'm bitching about send them over. They work for the fucking mayor, you know? And so this is all connected. I live in small town Iowa. So all of this is totally connected, and they protect themselves, you know? Oh, Jesus. You know, you can go read on my blog all this shit that I have posted on my blog. The emails that I've gotten from them, the emails I've gotten from my sheriff. You can go read it for yourself. Of course, that takes some effort. And I know most of you don't have the time or the energy, or more likely the inclination to educate yourselves. You don't go look at anything. You just make these dumbass opinions that you think matter. You know? I bet they do it cheap. I bet they do it cheap true, you know? I bet they get it meth. Am I afraid? No, I've been at this for so long. No. It's frustrating. It's stressful. But when you have faith, you're called not to be afraid. Although I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. I know that sounds, I tell you what, why don't I shut you up for a second? More than a second. You know, that's what ends up happening. Psalm 23, you know, I'm doing what I'm doing because I am compelled to do what I'm doing. That's why I do what I do. That's why I've done what I've done. You know, be still and know I am your God. Exactly. You know, and I don't know how all this is going to end, and I don't know why I'm where I'm at. I don't know why they get to do whatever the fuck it is they want to do to me. I don't get it. But obviously it's for a reason. That's what I believe. For some reason, it's happening for a reason. And so, oh my God, they're just in here, just in mass this morning. Because they want me to engage with them. The Dead Issac Kappy Club wants me to mention names. If you want to know names, go to my blog. In the tags, I tag every fucking one of them by name. They can't get my blog taken down, you know? They can't go report me. Who are they going to report me to? Me? You know? I know a lot of you do love me. And the ones making noise want to claim different. It's not true. I'm trying to surrender. You know how hard it is to actually be attacked by this shit? To wake up, and you know, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I thought I was going to die. And by 4 o'clock in the morning, I was praying to God, just let him fucking kill me already. You know? Just let him kill me already, because this is horrid. You know? They can torture you in your own house. And they dance around. Not so much anymore. Because now people, once I started putting signs out in my front yard, and the whole town started to look at what I was involved with, now they don't dance around in front of me anymore. But before, fuck, they used to come out and just dance around. They wanted me to know. They wanted me to know. And yeah, I know. And then I made it. They won't win. They haven't won. They might win against me, but I'm just a servant in this, you know? It is nice to see the angels here this morning, Cognitive. It is nice to see that there are people in here who are actually decent people. And as far as the bad guys, go ahead, keep commenting. I can block you, and then you're just not going to see my channel at all. Ever. Because I don't block for 24, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you irritate me, your ass is gone. I just don't want to deal with you anymore. Like I said yesterday, it's my venue. I have that choice. Their shit is on top of me. It is awful. It has been awful. And I don't know why God is allowing this to happen and me to go through this. I have to assume that it's for some reason that I don't understand. But then most of the time I don't understand. I get told to do stuff by heaven all the time. And I do it because I always know I'm just supposed to do it. But I never understand when I'm told. I hardly understand anything. I just know God is definitely testing my faith. My faith is definitely being tested. And yet, what am I doing? I'm on here talking about God and how all of this is going and how it's happening for a reason. You know, my faith is strong. It's what's kept me alive in all of this. I don't care. Make as many videos about me as you fucking want, dude. I don't give a shit. Don't give a shit. You know? Not like it hasn't happened from fucking day one. The Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Couple, and his group. That's what they do. They make videos about me. You know? What they're upset with is that this is not all I do. I make these videos to send them out to investigators. That's what I do. And my family was involved with child trafficking, and I don't give a shit. It needs to be fucking investigated, you know? But then, again, this group went out, the Dead Issac Kappy Club started telling people that I had abducted and murdered 12 kids. And then got mad when I fucking contacted police and authorities and said they're saying that I abducted and killed 12 kids. This needs to be investigated, do you not think? Maybe child trafficking isn't a fucking crime anymore. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe I don't. It's okay to go out and do that. The police don't need to investigate. Fuck. You know? Fuck, they don't need to. They don't even need to tell the truth about how many explosions there are at a goddamn gas station. It's not their job to investigate crimes. You know? Not their job. I don't know what their job is then, but it's not their job to investigate crimes. I guess it's their job to send out group emails to me and the people attacking me, telling me that it's all okay. I don't usually get involved with these things, but I don't see where they're doing anything wrong. Yeah, they'll send me a fucking email where they're gonna murder my dogs, but there's nothing wrong with that. They send me live videos laughing that when my best friend drops over dead, but there's nothing wrong with that, you know? Fuck. I guess there's nothing wrong, you know? Exactly. All the investigation needs to do is follow the money and reference my blog. They need to follow the money. My dad had a lot of money. A lot of money. And Doug Mesner, Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, and all of those fucking dumbasses, including my sister Cindy's kids, will say, he was only in it for the money. Let me point out something to you dumbasses. Had Kathy and I taken that to court, we would have won. Do you want to know why we would have won? Because we were before the third family. My stepmother was my dad's third wife. we would have been first. We would have had access to that money. If we would have taken it to court, we would have won. And I knew that at the time. But I didn't want any of that money because it's fucking blood money. It was all, a lot of it was garnered on the blood of dead and abducted kids. And I thought that money is cursed. I didn't want a goddamn dime of it. So when my stepmother sent me $100 check, when my dad died, I ripped that $100 up, put it in an envelope, and mailed it right back to her. You know? Keep your fucking blood money, bitch. See how well it works for you in the afterlife. But the cops help him. Cops helped him out in Algona. Every fucking one of those videos listed on that protection order had absolutely nothing to petitioners. Nothing. Didn't mention them at all in any of the videos, but only and solely dealt with Doug Mesner. So if there wasn't a connection between the petitioners and Doug Mesner, who lived 23 miles away from me in Tacoma, unbeknownst to me, how would that be possible? How would it be possible? You know, obviously there had to have been a connection. Or maybe they just felt bad for Doug Mesner, you know? Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, you know? Maybe. Child trafficking is more lucrative than drugs and prostitution. Yeah, it is. You know? The town knows my problems with Neil Gross. And I bet in, 49 days, he's going to be voted right back in. They're going to vote his stupid ass right back in. Doesn't investigate crimes, helps fucking child killers, protects fucking child killers. But around here, they peaked in high school. That's the reason why they're all reliving their high school days. Fuck, they're 50, 60 years old, talking about how they were in the football team and the track and all of that. They were in high school. You know? They peaked in high school. And it's all about popularity out here. And what letter you have after your name. Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross can do whatever the fuck he wants. He doesn't have to investigate any crimes. He can fucking support all the goddamn child killers he wants because he's a Republican. Since he's a Republican, he's all okay. It's okay that he doesn't investigate any of this shit because he's a Republican, you know? And I'm an asshole. I'm an independent. I'm not even a Democrat, you know? But then I get to the point where, well, if you don't like your sheriff and he's a Republican, then that must mean you're on the left. No, it doesn't. Because I'm not kind of a black and white person. I don't know very many people who are black and white. We all kind of fall in the middle. We're all kind of shades of gray, you know? Just because you're not for one doesn't mean you're for the other, you know? But I guess that you have to have some intelligence. And most people out here have never attended a college class in their fucking life, let alone had a degree. And those who have, they're so busy trying to vie for the popularity in town that they can't stand against anybody else, you know? It's okay that Neil Gross lied and said there was only one explosion that leveled the place. I don't know how Dan got out, got back in, got his brother-in-law, got them both back out with one explosion. But hey, what the fuck are facts? Who cares about the truth? Fuck, if it makes you feel good at night and helps you sleep, tell yourself as many fucking lies as you want. And if those lies mean that it protects child killers, so what? You know, not my kids. And that's how it works. That's how it works. And they're just trying to bring me down. Fuck. Maybe they'll throw me off a fucking bridge because I'm not suicidal, but that's what Issac Kappy said. And then you can all go out and buy the deluxe 2D CD set on my demise, like everyone did with Issac. He said he wasn't suicidal. Every time he said that in the Periscope video, you could hear someone in the background hurting his dog. Then he ends up off a bridge the next day, and they actually do have, you can go and check out Arizona. That's where it happened. They have a deluxe 2 CD set. You can get the autopsy photos and the police reports and the witness reports on something that's supposed to be a suicide. Have you ever heard any suicide having a deluxe 2 CD set that you can buy for $100 from the cops? It's a bit overkill, isn't it? Sounds like overkill. My best friend committed suicide. He doesn't have it. Uzbekistan. I'd probably demolish that. But hello. Other countries, you know? I'm just so frustrated with all of this that it is beyond frustrating. And it wouldn't be so bad if there wasn't so much at stake. But you don't know what they do to those kids. You don't have a comprehension of what ends up happening to some of those kids. And the fact that you don't care tells me I want to tell you to go fuck yourselves. Because you should care. Hey, Hannah. You should care. And there are a lot of people in here who do care. So don't think that what I'm saying is not for all of you. It's definitely not for all of you. Some of you do care, you know? And I know that you care. It's just, I'm exhausted last night. Because you don't get, when they beam this shit at you while you're sleeping, I'm at least able to sleep. A lot of people can't sleep on it. But I'm able to dissociate enough and compartmentalize it so well that I'm actually able to sleep. But you don't sleep well, you know? And it's a fitful sleep. It's an exhausting sleep. You wake up more tired than not. And the fact that it's a bunch of goddamn meth heads who all group together right across the parking lot from the fucking sheriff's office. That's where they all go, because they're all fucking meth heads. The NA is right across the parking lot from the sheriff's office. They're all involved. Except the one who lost their kids, they work for the fucking mayor. And their partner, directly connected family-wise to the Harlan chief of police before Yamada, who was known as the biggest drug dealer in town. That's what I get to deal with. That's how it's working. And they've all gone out of their way to make, they don't do it anymore, but they used to just fucking parade it around. Now I've started to call it out. They don't do that anymore. A lot of people go along with gang stalking. Yes, they do. And it is hard to trust people. And it is incredible that so many people are capable of such evil. And it's even worse that other people are totally complacent with it. In town, perfect example. They know what I'm fucking dealing with. I have a sign out in my front yard that says, it has always been about getting my family investigated for child trafficking. All they find this is entertaining. That's all they do. They'll vote for Neil. They will. When election comes in November, they'll fucking vote him right back in. You know? And he supports and protects fucking child killers. That's what the Dead Issac Kappy Club is trying to protect. They're all involved. You want to know about the fucking child trafficking? I would investigate Issac Kappy. Do a deep dive into who Issac Kappy was involved with. Who's involved with the Dead Issac Kappy Club? Who's involved with it? Because they're all involved. But I wouldn't go to my sheriff and expect my sheriff to tell you anything other than you can't believe me because I'm a fucking paranoid schizophrenic. I guess he learned how to diagnose people when he went to cop school. Him and his little butt boy, Captain Chad Butler, who's my handler. And you know how I know he's my handler? Because Neil Gross sent one of the Dead Issac Kappy Club members a fucking email, and they were dumb enough to make a video where they showed the whole email, and I was able to read the whole email from Neil. So my handler in town is now Chad Butler, the same motherfucker who tried to chase me down with his goddamn car. His truck. That's on video too, you know? But they're Republican and I'm an independent. So they are more, you know, they can lie, they can do whatever the fuck they want, and it's all okay because they're Republican. And they were high school athletes, you know? 58 years old, will be in a couple months. Haven't thought about my high school days for a long time. I certainly didn't peak in high school. My life has just been more full than that, you know? John Wedger, W-E-D-G-E-R, John Wedger in the UK said that everyone should see child porn because if you saw it for 1 second, no one would be on the fence. That's just it. But they don't want to, they don't want to look at it. They don't want to see it. They'll tell you, no, 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 you know? They want to remain ignorant, but ignorance is a choice. They choose to be ignorant. And in doing so, it makes them complicit with evil. They're obviously okay about it. They don't feel a need to actually stand up against it. They don't need to stop evil. They don't need to do anything. That's for someone else to do. But it makes them complicit. It makes them complicit, and they're going to get held responsible for that. And when it happens, they will do what they always do, whine and cry about how it's not fair, you know? I don't want to see it. Just ban it and arrest the people who have it. How about ban the people who fucking make it? How about that? You know? Great. P. Diddy got arrested. Any of his clients gonna get arrested? My guess is no. You want to know how I base that on? Fucking Jeffrey Epstein. It's not like we haven't been here before. You know? Pennsylvania is the most obvious false flag in history. I have to thank Gov, because Gov sent me a fucking picture of that dumbass's ear 2 weeks later. It's all bullshit. It is not a coincidence that J.D. Vance went on television and said that they made up that story about Haitians eating animals, and they won't even apologize for it. Fucking Springfield is under threat. They've had to close down schools, hospitals, but they don't give a fuck. Oh well, you know, I do care. I like ranting, says I like the anger though, it means you care. People in here realize I care a lot. I care a lot. Oh my God, Vance is just... I thought I didn't like Pence. But I didn't like Pence because that other dude they got, you guys will know who I'm talking about, Tory. The dude who said he was being attacked by these weapons, who was going against Pence. You know, he ended up dead. Nobody gave a fuck about him either. You know, I wasn't fooled by Pence because I knew about that dude. Tory Smith. Thank you, Cognitive. That's who it was. Tory Smith. Saying that he was being attacked by these weapons. Again, I'm going to publish this video on my blog, davidshurter.com. And I will put the NBC News article that came out when the U.S. Air Force went in front of Congress in 2006 and said they had these weapons and that they were going to use them on American citizens to show the rest of the world they were safe. And I'm also going to put the government paperwork that is directly connected to directed energy weapons. That's what they're fucking using against me. You know? Oh, Jesus. Nobody knows who Vance is. Jeffrey's gone, Cognitive. Someone who comes in with the name Jeffrey Dahmer and says they love their dad obviously needs to go someplace else. What they need is psychological help. You know? But then that's a lot of these people need psychological help. They're soulless. That's the only way to explain it. They're soulless. My sheriff is soulless. You know? But you won't be hearing nothing more from Jeffrey because I just got rid of him. You know? This is what it's like in the United States. I don't know if it's like this in the rest of the world, but this is how fucked up we are. Let's do a test. Name 5 serial killers. Name 5 serial killers. I bet every one of you can name 5 serial killers. Now that you've named those 5 serial killers, name one, even one of their victims. Even one. If you name 5 serial killers, name one of their victims. I bet the most of you can't without Googling it. Some of you probably might, you know? Because some actually give a shit. But for the most part, they have serial killer trading cards. I don't see trading cards for their victims, you know? You do have some of the worst serial killers in Alaska. That dude who used to pick up women, take them out into the fucking forest, and then hunt them. You know? Their names are lost. They don't give a shit. People are just so fascinated with evil. That's the reason why it's, you know, nobody does anything. It's just frustrating. Why the fuck would they have victim trading cards? Well, why the fuck do they have serial killer trading cards? Same fucking question. And what kind of person buys serial killer trading cards? You know? Oh, see, dude, you are pissing me off. You're gone. Winston is also gone. Just, it's frustrating. And it's frustrating to be here. It is frustrating to be here. And I want to get out of here, but I don't have any money to get out of here. I have, you know, shit, people have donated. I have $50 in PayPal. I have $50 in PayPal. But the people who gave it to me for a specific reason, and I feel I'm compelled to use it for that specific reason. I would love to get out of town today, but there's just no way. There's no way. I can't afford the gas, you know? Anybody who wants to get my book, PayPal, Venmo, Shurter. I will tell you today, if anybody buys my book, how much is it for a rat? A large rat is $13, $14, probably $15 with tax, you know? And just, but then I gotta have gas to get down there. I mean, I'm 40 minutes out, and I don't know. I don't know. There was I will tell you, in the middle of the night, they were saying that that asteroid was flying by, and I prayed really hard. Please let that asteroid just hit my house. That's I prayed for it to hit my house. You know, I just, yeah, there are people that trading cards are for real, and they have real memorabilia collections. You know, they sell the shit. John Wayne Gacy's fucking weird ass fucking clown pictures. A couple years ago, I think it went for 10 grand. Someone bought one of his weird ass things after he was convicted and was executed. You know, I don't know. If I go to Omaha, then I suppose I could eat lunch. I mean, I usually don't go down unless I have like at least $50 or $60, because to put gas in my car is $20. And I have a little Juke, but it's a turbo. I got that car thinking it was going to be great on gas, not realizing that the turbo, it drains gas. It's awful. So I sit at home a lot because I can't afford gas. You know, I don't know. I came on here because it makes me feel better to come on here. And this morning I was so beside myself. It's just beside myself, obviously, because I have one of my puppies right here underneath my feet. They're definitely concerned about me because I'm super nice and everything, but if I talk or do anything, I think they sense the tension. Because I can sit there and say nothing, and they'll come up to me all worried. And so I used to have a crappy old Honda, and it was awesome on gas. It was awesome on gas. I could fill up that tank and drive around it for 2 weeks. But if I take my car can have 190 miles in the gas tank. I go down to Omaha, just drive a little bit around Omaha, and I'm lucky when I get done before I have to put gas in that it has 60 miles, which won't get me home. That's, let's see. Turbo will definitely drain a tank, and I didn't know that. I would have never bought. I love my car, but I would have never bought it. Hey, from Russia. Jukes I love my Juke. They ran into my car trying to destroy it last summer. Go look at my videos. I posted a video on it. That was when they crashed it. 3 sheriffs showed up in 3 different directions within 3 minutes. Nobody even had time to call them. And then the police report, they had the policeman that did it. His name was Brandon Gosh. So if I had any question in my mind whether or not it was a set up deal, the fact that the cop, his name was Brandon Gosh. What is your dream car if money doesn't matter? One that runs and gets good gas mileage. I'm so not into cars, you know. I just wish I had enough gas money to run my Juke. That's really, you know, I just want a car that runs. Gets me from point A to point B. I've driven, the worst car that I had, my PayPal and my Venmo are just my first initial D and my last name, Shurter. I'm selling my book, $30. I will inscribe it and write something on this page if you end up getting my book. But make sure if you do that to tell me who I'm inscribing it to and then tell me where I'm sending it to. And I try to get my books out the same day or the very next day, unless you order it on Saturday, and then I can't do it till Monday because. But that's great to see Russia here. I know about Putin and his relationship. Do you know that the two countries that have the worst, they are known for having child trafficking the most, is Russia and the United States, and yet they'll have everyone focus on Thailand and all of that stupid movie, Sound of Freedom. They want you to think that there's no child trafficking in the United States. It's all down in those third world countries. But it's, the biggest event for child trafficking in America is the Super Bowl. They know that child trafficking is huge during the Super Bowl. The week of Super Bowl, that's when it's the worst, But that's all right, because P. Diddy won't get the same thing as Jeffrey Epstein, because they were different colors, P. Diddy, that's why P. Diddy's still sitting in jail right now. Jeffrey Epstein went to jail and he could come and go as he pleased. But it all has to who they are and the color of their skin. That makes a big difference around here in the United States. It's sorry to say, because I just don't understand it. I don't understand race. I don't understand judging people on the color of their skin or their race or their religious stuff. I just don't get it, But that's, I guess, just me. I guess it's not meant for me to get it, And there's exceptions to every rule. So even if you stereotype an entire group of people, there'll still be exceptions to those rules, It's to say that one race is one way or the other, all one way or all. That's like saying that all of us are all the same. There's nothing different between us. That's not true. We're all different, But whatever. Again, we live in a day where evil is considered good and good is considered evil. I'm a dickhead because I'm trying to expose child trafficking, but the Dead Issac Kappy Club, they're all okay. They're funny, They're entertaining. They're child traffickers, but hey, it's disgusting. The innocents get screwed in every race. Oh my God. If you're indigenous to the United States, you're fucked more than anybody. And my friend from Alaska who's in here can tell you that, because Alaska is known for that big shit, that shit. If you're indigenous, shit. It's, or poor. It doesn't even have anything to do with color anymore. Now if you're poor, notice how rich white kids don't disappear, but poor white kids can disappear and nobody gives a shit, But then isn't that what makes the difference? It's not really the color of their skin. It's the money in their pocket. That's what makes it. We focus on the skin, but it's not the skin color that we're upset about. It's the money in their pocket. Poor people don't matter in this country because everyone is a temporarily embarrassed billionaire. And so, right, the poor get completely screwed and then they get blamed for being lazy. You can work 3 minimum wage jobs full time, not have enough to pay for anything, and then be called lazy. But you can fucking get millions of dollars and lose it, and you're fucking brilliant, Brilliant. Oh my God, Perfect example, money manager. Would you go to someone to manage your money if you knew that they declared bankruptcy 6 times? Would you give them their money? Seems a lot of people will, I still don't understand how you go bankrupt owning a casino. I still don't understand that, but I've never owned a casino, so maybe it's easy to fucking go broke when people are just giving you free money. But whatever. I worked 3 jobs and had less than 1 part-time job in an Ivy League school. It's absurd. Exactly. You know? Hey, from Australia. My mom took me to an obese dietitian. Okay, I cognitive. Right over my head. See, that's why I came in here, because I knew I would feel better if I came in here and actually just started talking with you guys. I was hoping that some of you would come in here and it wouldn't just be trolls. And I'm not dealing with the Dead Issac Kappy Club. I'm not going to call them out except on my blog. So if you want to know who I'm talking about, you can go to my blog. But there's no more calling them out on TikTok. There's no more calling them out on YouTube, because they're a group and they're trying. They're desperate to get me connected. And I guess the member of the Dead Issac Kappy Club, who has been obsessed with me in the past, is still obsessed. I guess posting video after video after video, all about me. You know? I live in their heads rent free. And they don't live in mine. It's having them aim their weapons at me is not the same as me just putting it in my thinking about them. I'm being attacked, you know? Same as a bankrupt money manager, exactly. Oh, I get it. My mom took me to an obese dietitian. Exactly, I get it. Again, I am sometimes not I wanted to say the brightest tool in the shed, which just goes to show what I mean. I am not always the sharpest tool in the shed. Sometimes it goes over my head. I have some small good news. The gallery where I sell my work closed. I need that monthly check, but a new place wants me and I'll be okay. I'm so glad, Sarah. I'm trying to do artwork, but I'm just so... They're honking their horns again because they watch this shit. Yep, the same group of them. Remember that happened last time too, because they watch this shit. Everyone watches. But the Dead Issac Kappy Club, my sheriff's department, I wouldn't be surprised if Butt Boy Chad is not on here watching this shit. You know, all pissed off because I'm holding them to the fire, their feet to the fire over that gas station explosion. The reason why I focus on that gas station explosion is because there wasn't one explosion, there were 2. And it was a terrorist attack. There was a bomb. That's what caused the first explosion. Their little report doesn't even make any sense and it doesn't fit the facts at all. But the facts are that that first explosion was planted there, I believe, from the men who were across the street the Saturday night before when we were in COVID lockdown. And I say that because I was getting death threats constantly. And the fact that Deputy Donovan, Chad Butler better hope he doesn't end up like Donovan did. Donovan ended up killing himself a week and a half before the gas station explosion. And that was the dude they were using to go after me and my dogs in Erling at the time. And he committed suicide a week and a half before that gas station explosion. Then there are men across the street on Saturday. It goes off on Monday. You know, been there for over 40 fucking years, never had an issue. You know, it was a terrorist attack. They would have hurt a lot of people. They're lucky they didn't kill people, you know? Oh yeah, the men who planted it probably got a check. They probably got a check before the insurance money came in, you know? I'm just beyond frustrated. with all of this. Because it's like the fucking child killers can do whatever they please. It's whatever they do. That's why when I started this, I said, you know what, if I would have been bright, I should just start telling everybody it's all the Haitians in Harlem that are abducting the kids. Shit, then at least the media would get involved, you know? No, he killed himself. He did kill himself. He killed that officer. But do I think that they were setting him up and what they were asking him to do, he preferred to kill himself than rather than do what they were telling him to do? Because that whole thing was all meant for me. Was all meant for me. And I do not believe that it was a coincidence that the first explosion to that gas station happened the minute I put my head underneath the water. I had just gotten naked and in the shower. Had that gas station, had that wall where the first explosion gone, had that happened, had that wall fallen down, all the 300 plus pound debris that ended up 9 blocks away in a field on the other side of town, all that shit would have hit my house directly. And if you go look at the pictures, that great big white house that's right across the street, that was my house. And so it would have brought my house down, and it would have brought my house down while I was naked in the shower. I don't think it was an accident. Oh, they fucking watch everything I do. They do, and how can I stop them? I know that they probably have infrared cameras next to me because they watch everything I do. You know, if I come outside, they'll come outside. Used to be that way. Now, not so much anymore. But David, I sometimes don't think so deeply about your situation, and then you spoke about what your father did. It's a completely different world, and I can't begin to imagine. No. And thank you for small blessings. Thank God for small blessings. Because if you guys knew exactly what I know and what I remember, especially growing up as a kid, there wouldn't be anything stopping you from taking a stand and actually fighting this shit. That's the whole thing. If you actually knew what had happened. For years and years and years and years, my therapist has repeated to me over and over and over, I don't understand how you didn't end up dead or in jail. Because what you went through would have driven a normal person insane. And the only reason is because of God. The only reason I'm here is because of God. Because it's not like they haven't tried to take me out over and over and over. And every time they fail. You know? The shower is supposed to be a peaceful, clean experience. Yes, it is. And cognitive, I completely agree. I can't wait for heaven to repay them. I can't wait for heaven to repay them. And all those who were complicit and just stood by and were okay with it. You know? All glory to God. Exactly. And praise God for covering me. God knows that's, I think, the whole reason why God has kept me here. Because heaven knows that I ain't going to stop. I ain't going to stop. I can't stop. And it's not, oh, I don't have the choice to stop. My family was involved with some seriously bad shit. We owe a price. And I'm paying that price. Even though I was not in it voluntarily, I got out of it as soon as I possibly can. But then I'm right back in it now. I'm just trying to expose it. And I think heaven's kept me here because heaven knows I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. I'll fight this until I am dead. And even then, I don't think I'll probably stop. You know, you have a high level of integrity. Thank you. What are we if we don't have integrity? You know, if you don't do what's right, then, you know, but I find that a lot of you have a strong sense of integrity in here. It's not your fault, David. Don't feel guilty in any way. That's easier said than done. Trust me, I've dealt with that a lot in therapy. My therapist once told me, you have the worst case of survivor guilt of anybody I've ever met. Like, yeah. They were carving little boys apart while the boys were screaming, and I was told it was all being done in tribute to me. And I was all under the age of 10. This started when I was born and went to the age I was 10. The only reason it stopped is because my family made me light that dude on fire, and I wasn't drugged, and it wasn't part of my programming. And it ended up making me have a psychotic break. But as a kid, it's hard to not feel guilty over things that are being told are being done because of you, you know? And my sense of humor. What ends up irritating me about my sense of humor is, especially when I get angry, people laugh because they call me. I've been told that I would make a great angry comic, because sometimes I will get mad, and the things that come out of my mouth, I'm furious. But the things that come out of my mouth, I guess, are so amusing that it makes people laugh, and which just irritates me more. The angrier I get, the funnier I seem to become, because I say just, you know, I feel the pain of those boys. Fuck. Last night, as they were hitting me with I was back in Humble Park. It was a brief dream. It only lasted for a second. Because I'm very good, because of my training of doing lucid dreaming. So if I'm in a dream that I don't want to be in, I'm not in it anymore. I can stop it in my sleep. But that was lucid dreaming was a big part of my training as a kid. And I don't see any humor in it. But I'm not talking about being angry over child killers. I'm talking, you know, you irritate me just on a note, because everyone gets irritated. It's not like I'm a robot. You can, you know, say something stupid to me or something like that, and people laugh at harsh words because it is a release of uncomfortable truth, but they remember it better. Yes, they do. I've had people who have come up to me 20 years later, remembered who I was, and not only remembered who I was, but remembered exactly what I said to them verbatim 20 years later. And of course, I don't remember it, but they never got it out of their head. I've had more than one person say that. Now I'm careful, because words can do damage. Words can do damage. And I don't want to damage people. Unless you're a fucking child killer, and then I don't give a shit. Don't give a goddamn shit how you feel. Fuck you. You know? I do have to say, I despise, and that is an understatement, child killers. And those people who would protect child killers. I don't think my sheriff laughs at the things I say to him, because I've been more than direct to him. But like the Dead Issac Kappy Club right now, leaving me mentions on YouTube, trying to get me to engage with them. That's what my fucking sheriff did when we were standing outside of Hy-Vee, because he wanted to have a confrontation in front of Hy-Vee, in front of everyone. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And Bible says that life and death is in the power of the tongue. I believe that. Words have power. Words have power. It's much better to uplift someone, and it's just better to lift people up. And unless you're a fucking child killer, and then I can't smash you down fast enough. I don't like fucking child killers. The fact that I feel like I have to explain why I don't like fucking child killers is why I don't like child killers. One of the reasons. The fact that I feel like I have to explain myself as to why I think child killers are bad, and that's the shit that I've had to do with my sheriff. That's the stuff I've had to do in town, you know? I'm just, it's frustrating to me. It's frustrating. And I get sick of it. My family needed to be investigated. There's a reason why I was told that our stepmother was dead for 3 fucking years. Because why would I go after a dead person? But it was all instrumented by God that I ran into her at the farmhouse and realized not only is she not dead, she's very much alive, which has renewed. She needs to be investigated. And she's not a very bright person. They go ask her questions. She's going to fucking lie herself right into a fucking corner because she's not bright. Fucking child killer, but then the police protect her. That's what they did in Omaha. You know? John Pankaden, Nebraska State Patrol cold case dude, who tells me that he doesn't have a sister named True. But True came into my life and my sister's life, and it wasn't like I didn't have people in my life. People met her. She was her and her drunk ass friend. They always showed up at my house with a fucking bottle of wine, and it could be 9 o'clock in the morning, you know? And, but I tried to get this investigated. I tried to get it looked at, and it went nowhere. It went nowhere. I'm not... Okay, I must have missed something. Yes, God sees everything and eventually they will pay. Not soon enough. You know, in my opinion, not soon enough. I'm so sick of these child killers. I'm sick of them coming into my house. They just tried to trick me into fucking poisoning dear people in my town. People who actually live the word. Because there are people in town that I know live the word. And the destruction, had they eaten that cake and died, it would have devastated people's lives that I very much care about, you know? And, I became aware of this evil 8 or 9 years ago, listening to Fiona Barnett. Fiona Barnett is real. Kathy O'Brien is real, but that Mark dude was her handler, so she was being handled. So you can't believe stuff. Johnny Gosh, but Noreen Gosh is a gatekeeper. His mother, she'll blame her ex-husband John, but in all these years, who's been on the front lines? Being the gatekeeper. Not John, you know, Franklin. That's the reason why I made Nick Bryant cry on the phone, because Nick Bryant reached out to me and called me and said, you know, my book is just coming out. Sit back. It'll all be taken care of. My book is coming out. So on the phone, I said, did you talk about the old market? No. Did you talk about the snuff films being filmed in the Hollywood bar? No. Did you talk about the dude that Noreen Gosh says was involved, Sam Soda, she says was involved? He worked at the Stage Door gay bar. That was right the fuck across the street where Robert Wadman worked. But Robert Wadman was so busy fucking Alicia Owen and getting her pregnant when she was a minor, he probably didn't notice Sam Soda working right across the street from him. Did you mention any of that? No. Did you mention anything about Hummel Park? No. Did you mention about anything about Boys Town, shipping boys down there every Saturday to the old market? No. Did you mention anything about Todd Beckett? No. And by the time I was done, he was sobbing on the phone telling me, I'm a good guy. I'm trying. I'm a good guy. I told him, you're not bringing anything new to the table. Rusty Nelson, the photographer, who spoke about a second photographer. Do you know who that second photographer was? My brother Steven. That's who the second photographer was. You know? And I'm on record. I've said this before. Rusty Nelson, I've never talked to. Never talked to him. He moved, so he was separate. I never talked to him. And But I talked to Paul Bonacci. He's a fucking bullshit artist. Noreen Gosh. Not only did I have deal with her over and over and over, I've met her in person with John DeCamp. Both of them were gatekeepers. Bad people. You know? Franklin was just... And Paul Bonacci was a piece of shit. Piece of shit. Anybody who goes and looks... See, we know so much more about DID now. Dissociative identity disorder used to be called multiple personality disorder. The shit that he did with Ted Gunderson in those tapes is so over the top and bizarre, it's not real. Nobody who has DID acts like that, you know? And, yeah. Makes sense why Johnny Gosh's mom, Noreen, was allowed to be so loud. They had everybody fooled, and John DeCamp was a bad dude. Ted Gunderson was a bad dude. Dealt with all of them. They're all gatekeepers, you know? I don't know if the Mormon Church assisted Wadman, but I wouldn't be surprised. You know, I would not be surprised. Do you know that I lived in Council Bluffs for 10 fucking years? Never once did a Mormon come to my house. But when my ex and I split up, all of a sudden I had Mormons at my house. And you want to know what the harshest thing that I feel about the Mormon Church? I have never met a group of people who wish to live the word more than anybody. The Mormons that I met, they really did try to live the word. But they're being controlled by the fucking devil. And they don't want to admit it. You know? They don't want to admit it. The kids' attorneys were from Utah, probably. You know? Alicia Owen will tell everyone, John DeCamp didn't do shit to help her. Didn't do shit to help her. And I think still, Alicia Owen went to jail for perjury because she wouldn't back down that Robert Wadman was the father of her child. She was known for years and years and years of being the one prisoner that spent the most time in solitary confinement. And if you watch her on video, she seems like the nicest girl. I mean, naive. She's not disabled intellectually, but she ain't gonna build any rocket ships to the moon anytime soon. But then neither am I, so that's probably a harsh judgment call. But speak about integrity. All she had to do was say she was lying and she would have gotten out of all of it, and she didn't do it. And you want to know the cop that helped put her in the goddamn jail? John Pankedon, the Nebraska State Patrol cold case dude that I went and had to force to take my DNA, take the swab out of my mouth for Ricky Chaddick. That's who helped put her in jail, John Pankedon. I just saw her a year ago, probably, on Nick Bryan's channel on YouTube. He interviewed her. That's how I found out. That was the first time I ever found out that the cop that put her in jail, the one that made all this go away, was John Pankedon. John Pankedon seemed young to me. I'm not good at guessing people's ages. I didn't realize that he was a fucking cop during Franklin. You know, didn't realize it. But it was John Pankedon, and you don't have to take my word for it. Go look at Nick Bryan. I don't know how many, I don't know how many interviews he's done with Alicia Owen, but this one isn't but a year old, maybe a little over a year old. And it was John Pankedon, same motherfucker who should. And of course, they took out Owen because Ricky Chaddick, they were trying to blame Owen's brother Neil Wingard, for killing Ricky Chaddick, and didn't have any fucking thing to do with it, Ricky Chaddick was seen in a white Cadillac with a man and a woman. My grandmother Shurter owned a white Cadillac. I knew my dad and my stepmother were fucking child killers. How many fucking child killers in Omaha were there driving a white Cadillac? You know? Troy Bonner was a dumbass. He was a pathological liar. But yeah, he was fucking stupid. Again, I have an interview with Michael Brunell. On my thing, he was sitting right next to Troy Bonner's brother when they murdered Troy Bonner's brother. And I have it all on interview. We all talked about it. We talked about it, you know? And so Troy Bonner was a Bear boy. Alan Bear was completely involved. Alicia Owen came out and started telling everybody that Robert Wadman was the father of her child, and she was, 15 at the time? So Alan Bear sent Troy Bonner and Paul Bonacci around. They surrounded that girl. Their bullshit was so fucked up that nobody believed it. Because Paul Bonacci, whoa, now I'm having another personality, it's coming through. Hi, I'm Susie. That's the kind of shit he did in those videos. I can't even emulate it because I'm not a good enough actor. It was the stupidest shit. And now that we know about DID, anybody who goes and looks at those fucking things are going to know he was a fucking liar. And you want to know how I know that he was a liar? Because I helped organize and put on the first Ivory Garden conference in Seattle, the trauma thing. And it was filled with women who were diagnosed DID. And you couldn't tell. But you want to know why you couldn't tell they had DID? Do you want to know why they wanted people to have DID? Because it made you a great spy. If you were getting information from another personality, but you didn't remember it as your normal personality, you didn't tell anybody. So if they're making spies trying to get them to have DID, who's going to tell Paul Bonacci anything? Did you see how he acted? You probably would do anything you could to move yourself away from him because the dude was a freak. You know? We know so much more about DID now. His stuff was bullshit. And it was, they talk about Franklin. $40 million disappeared out of Franklin credit. Do you know how much money was being made from all of the cocaine that they were shipping into Offutt Air Force Base from the Contras at the time? There was so many drugs and so much money being made from drugs and the child prostitution and the child trafficking, I just did 6 hours of leg day. My legs be shaking like I'm a cartoon. Been there, done that. Obviously don't work out anymore. I can't afford a gym membership, But then, my book. If you want to know about my feelings on Franklin, $30. $30. If you have it, buy it today so I can go get a rat for my snake. I never thought I would ever own a snake. I never thought I would own a ball python. I was volunteering for at an animal shelter out when I lived in Algona. And my boss at the time asked me if I would hold Lucy for just a minute because he was cleaning her tank. And Bonacci shows up right along with Noreen Gosh. They're kind of a pair, and he'll run all of this bullshit. Do you know how Paul Bonacci got over DID? Because he told me this himself. Do you know what cured him of DID? He saw a priest 5 times. It only took 5 meetings with a fucking Catholic priest to cure him of DID. I do not take Lucy out in the grass. She doesn't like to be outside. If I take her out, I leave her on me because she doesn't even want to ride around on anybody. That's the reason why I fostered her for a while. Because when he put her on around my neck, he started freaking out because she started giving me kisses on my cheek right away. And Lucy had a brother, and he was using them to show kids, so kids weren't afraid of snakes. But he told me, even so, of all the times, he'd never seen her do that. So he asked me, would you be willing to foster her? Because we need the room. Can you foster her? And I said, sure, Well, I tried to get out of it by saying, I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to watch her kill anything. And he told me, no, she doesn't eat live rats. You have to get a frozen rat. You have to buy frozen rats. Exactly. DID takes years to process the trauma. 5 meetings with a fucking Catholic priest ain't gonna do shit. And you know what he does now? From what I understand, he has a lawn care thing, and he works for the very people who abused him. That's what he does. He mows lawns for rich people in Omaha. That's what I wanted to do. Go work for my fucking abusers. Couldn't get away from Alan Bear. Every time I turned around, that dude was my stalker. The only reason why Alan Bear stopped following me, he was dying of prostate cancer. And we met him at Dixie Quicks. He was trying to give my ex a job. And it caused a lot of problems because my ex and I had spent the entire weekend screaming at each other. Because I told him there ain't no fucking way you're taking a job with Alan Bear. You're not doing it. And finally at the end, yelling, he finally gave in to me and said, I just want you to come with me so that you can tell him. And I said, okay. So we showed up at Dixie Quicks. Alan Bear sees me, asks us how long we've been together. I think at the time we'd been together, 8 years? And he looked at me and said, yeah, I had one of those once too. And so we sat down, and I had fire coming out my ears. So my ex excuses himself to go to the bathroom, and I took that moment to look at Alan Bear and said, dude, I really do feel sorry for you. And Alan Bear got of course, this dude had the ego, because little monkey man had fucking an ego from hell. I want to use the F word. And I'm gay, so I feel like I can, but I won't, because I know people don't like that word, but if anybody fits that word, it was him, little monkey man. And he asked me, why do you feel sorry for me? And I told him, dude, do you know that if you weren't rich and paying everybody off, nobody would have a fucking thing to do with you? If you were just a grocery store clerk working in a grocery store, no one would even look at you twice. And it has to be really lonely for you, because you don't know if people are around you because they actually like you, or if it's because they want your money and what they can get off of you. And that has to be really lonely, to know that the only reason why people are hanging out with you is because you pay them to hang out with you. And he was a pathetic, brilliant, but, and I almost got him to admit it. He got so mad at me that I saw in his face. He went to go say something, and then he stopped, and he grabbed his coat, and he walked out of Dixie Quicks. And so my ex comes back from the bathroom and is like, where's Alan? And I said, I don't think we'll be seeing Alan anymore. And we didn't. He died about 6 months after that. So he's the whole reason why that summer 27 gay guys committed suicide. There was a mass suicide of gay guys. C.B. Rogers was just one of them. There were 27 gay guys who killed themselves in one summer because they were trying to close up Franklin, because it was all hidden out in the open in the gay lifestyle. They were making the snuff films at Hollywood. Sam Soder, who was involved with the child trafficking, was working right across the street from the police station right next door downtown. The Max was just a couple blocks down. That's where they were watching all the snuff films in groups. And the Greyhound bus station, where all the boys prostituting themselves. Underage boys were prostituting themselves around the jail and the Greyhound bus station in the 80s. You know, they were all suicided. You really think that 27 gay guys killed themselves in one summer? They were all suicided. But then they say that the I can't think of his name. The newspaper dude that was I can't think of his name. He got convicted of pedophilia, went to jail, came back. They said he committed suicide. You know how he committed suicide? He drank Drano. That's not how you commit suicide. That's a mafia hit. The CIA is involved with Doug Mesner is involved with the CIA. If you listen to Shane Bugbee, who was one of the co-founders of Satanic Temple, go to my blog, davidshurter.com. I talk about it. I show where he wrote an article saying that that he told Shane Bugbee he was working with the CIA. That's one of the reasons why Shane Bugbee quit, because he didn't want to be involved. If you weren't abused as a child, do you think you would still be gay? I don't know. My sister Cindy told me that had I not gone through the abuse that I went through as a kid, I would have ended up straight with kids. I'm more straight than my brother, and he was supposed to be straight, but he was having sex with boys and transsexuals. He liked transsexuals. And yes, Hunter S. Thompson, who I met as a fucking child, fucking sucked. Goddamn freak. You know? It's not the left. Okay, this is the question though. This is what I have when I say about it being the Republicans are involved with it. I'm not saying Democrats aren't involved. But in the 80s, it was all Republican. It was George Bush Sr., because the same shit that was happening in Omaha was also happening in Houston, Texas. Who ran Texas? You know, it was Republican. So my question is, he was into human hunting. So was Anton Scalia. That's what Anton Scalia was doing at that ranch when he ended up dead. But so this is my question about the whole, it's Democrats. It's all the Democrats. Republicans aren't involved. When I was a kid, it was all Republican. So when did the Republicans turn this cash cow over to the Democrats? Completely over to the Democrats. And more importantly, why? Why did they turn this cash cow over to the Democrats? Now it's no Republicans, it's only Democrats. You know, and I'm not saying that Hillary isn't involved and Bill Clinton isn't involved and there aren't Democrats that are involved. But at the time in the 80s, the only Democrat that was involved was Barney Frank. Barney Frank lived in Washington, D.C. He was a Democrat. He was gay and had a fucking child prostitution ring going out of his fucking apartment. That's why he was involved. They have everyone so focused on one or the other, when really it has nothing to do with Republican or Democrat. It is a group it's just a group. And what connects them all is that they're goddamn child killers and into child killing. You know, they're all connected. It's the system we're fighting. But they have us but notice, I think the reason why the Republicans kiss Trump's ass, they'll go on and on and on about how fucking what a loser Trump is. Then they go down to Mar-a-Lago, and when they leave Mar-a-Lago and they come out of Mar-a-Lago, they're singing a different tune. They all sang that this happened over and over and over. And the reason why I think that is because Bill Barr, when they raided Jeffrey Epstein's island, gave all this shit to Trump. That's why Trump was so angry he wasn't mad about the classified information. He was mad about his safe. And I'd be willing to bet he was mad about his safe because All of the shit that Bill Barr gave him from Jeffrey Epstein's island was in that safe. That's the reason why the FBI waited for Trump not to be there anymore, so that they could get into that safe. Notice how all of the Republicans go down. They'll be all talking about what a piece of shit Donald Trump is. They go to Mar-a-Lago and then they come back and they can't sing his praises loud enough for everyone to hear. But notice how not one Democrat has done it. So what? There was no shit on the Democrats at Jeffrey Epstein's island? You know? Dude, you're an idiot. And I'm willing to bet that John Smokes is fucking part of the dead Issac Kappy club. What you wanna bet? And just the way he responded, I bet I know exactly which member of the dead Issac Kappy club that John person is. You know? All English, Australian. It's also in, again, the UK. They went on and on and on about that Hampstead case. On and on and on. And I believe those kids were abused. I believe that what they said happened to them happened to them. But I believe that every single person around them was bad. Especially that Abraham dude. That fucking dude from jail that's connected with the mom and all that. They were all bad. And you want to know why I say that they were all bad? Because if you were actually trying to get justice for those kids, maybe you should focus on Shirley Oaks. Shirley Oaks was a group home. It was Shirley Oaks that actually pushed. The reason why the UK refused to investigate Jimmy Savile and that whole group is they said they were too old. These things are just too old. We don't want to deal with it. But Shirley Oaks has what, over 500 victims who have come forward, who have all gotten together. If you wanted to prove ritual abuse and all the shit that was going on, and they didn't believe these two kids, why not go to Shirley Oaks and start focusing on Shirley Oaks? It's a group home with 500 victims. It's pretty hard to just blow off 500 victims from Shirley Oaks. 2 children, boy, they're easy to fucking talk about, you know? No, I'm not a fucking Freemason. That's the whole reason why I left the Mormon church. Because they wanted me to wear their fucking underwear, their magic underwear. And when I saw their magic underwear, you want to know what makes Mormons' underwear magic? That their underwear is so special? There's Freemason symbols all over it. That's what they wear. They think that Freemason underwear is what protects them. Be a cold day in hell before I'm gonna wear Freemason shit, let alone my underwear. I told him I'll go buy my own fucking underwear. It won't have any Freemason prints on it. But that's what makes Mormon underwear so special. Because it has Freemason shit all over it. Be a cold day in hell before I fucking wear anything that has Freemason symbols on it, let alone my underwear. I'd rather just stick with Hanes, thanks. You know? No. Someone was talking. Jimmy Savile. Jimmy Savile was a bad dude. Everyone knows. Notice how it never goes anywhere. You know? I can't go commando. I tried, but there is nothing worse than zipping up your penis in your zipper. And I have a hard time with boxers as it is. I just, my mom was Irish. Not to divulge too much, but I don't wear tighty whities. I wear boxers, but I even have to be careful with boxers. But I sure as fuck do not go commando. Tried before because I thought it was cheaper. You don't have to buy underwear. But shit. One time I did that and it took me 30 minutes to unzip myself. And let me tell you, I was sobbing when it finished after words. It makes me choke just thinking about it. Sorry. No. I met some wonderful people who are Mormon. I do. But I think that their leadership is bad. And I think that the things that are going on. It's interesting because the Mormon church, like I said, I've never met a group of people who were more invested in trying to live the word. But if you look at it, do you know that the FBI and the CIA are top heavy with Mormons? So why do Mormons, who are doing their best to try and live the world, working for the fucking devil himself? Because I'm sorry, they're the devil, you know? I have not seen the national Irish streams. It's just, it's well known, or it's just Irish are the men can be well endowed. And I'm not freakishly, but I don't have small dick syndrome either. No reason for it. It is the Jesuits. It was the Catholic Church. Again, rabbit hole. My book. $30. Venmo, PayPal, Shurter. I'll inscribe it, but I talk about it all the time. The Catholic Church was heavily involved. Boys Town was heavily involved. Heavily involved. That's where they were getting a lot of their boys, was from Boys Town. And it was the Catholic Church that was involved. I don't know, the Catholic Church, who's lost billions of dollars because they were fucking diddling kids and went to court and lost, you know? It's not a leap. It's not like it's, you know, it was the Catholic Church. They're being deceived, you know? The Mormons, the churches, that's the reason why I don't get involved with the churches. The more naive you are, the more of a target you are. And I'm just, you know, all of this stuff is stuff that people have known. It's just I guess I'm different because I lived it. I mean, I've lived it my whole life. I grew up in it. I've had to deal with it as an adult. I've lived it. And so I'm able to not only just talk about stuff I've read, I can talk about my own personal experiences and be able to bring up my own personal experiences. Boys Club, yeah. You end up Boy Scouts, exactly. Unfortunately, when you have people who do everything they can to ingratiate themselves with children, you need to at least have a little bit of critical reasoning with that. And it's not just men, it's women too. My main abuser, after I got out of the cult and had to deal with just normal life, was my fucking stepmother. You know? There's a good reason why I'm gay. Because she's ugly. She was born on Halloween. Need I say more? Fits it perfectly. I think there's a reason why she got married to my dad. I think that was all involved. It's disgusting, you know? There was a reason why people went out of their way to convince me that my stepmother was dead. She's not dead. And I laid off of her thinking she was dead. Now that I know she's not dead, fuck, I ain't gonna lay off her. Not at all. My mom, my real mom, wasn't paternal either. I came from a really fucked up family, but my dad basically destroyed my mom. She was the worst binge drinker I've ever met in my life. She could sit in a chair, drunk, not get up to eat, not get up to sleep, not get up to piss. And she could stay that way for 3 months at a time. I'm not fucking kidding. So drunk she didn't know who the fuck she was, you know? And so that's how she came to live with me. She drank her kidneys into failure. And she was told, you either go live with one of your kids or you have to go to a home. You can't live by yourself anymore. And I had just been with well, we weren't exes, obviously. We had just gotten together. We hadn't been together more than 9 months. And I told him, if you love me, you'll love my mom because she's coming to live with us. And she did. We took care of her for the last 5.5 years of her life while she was on diet. She had to go on dialysis. And my dad destroyed her. My dad destroyed her. All of this shit. But fuck, they murdered my brother David. My brother David was the first male of us, and he didn't live more than 24 hours. They fucking sacrificed his ass. Which used to piss me off, because I was always mad that they named me David. Because I grew up in the 80s where they had the Bob Newhart show. This is Daryl. This is my other brother Daryl. And that's how I felt. Why did you give me my dead brother's name? Why did you name me David? You know? And, but he was the oldest boy. I'm the youngest boy. And so, but it destroyed my mom. Destroyed my mom. Them sacrificing David just destroyed my mom. A year before I was born, I do think she drove herself into a fucking light pole on the interstate. They thought she was dead for 30 minutes until she started moaning. She lived through it, obviously. And then I was conceived, you know? And so, and my mom was just, she was lost. At the very end, it was probably about 6 months before she died. We were sitting around the table. I think I've told everyone this story before, but I'll tell it again. We were sitting around the table. She was reading the newspaper. I was smoking pot. Because that's what we did in the morning. We would both drink coffee. I was always reading a book. She was reading the newspaper. And she put her newspaper down and looked at me and said, David, I want to thank you. And my mom was really good at backhanded compliments. Really good at backhanded compliments. So I thought she was getting ready to insult me. And of course I looked up and said, what, Mother? What exactly do you want to thank me for? And she told me, this time that I've been with you, I have neither been abused nor been able to abuse myself. And she thanked me for giving her that time. And so, sorry. It's just one of the best memories I have of my mom. Because I appreciated what she said, you know? Because she wasn't being abused. And we adored my mom. You know, we adored my mom. So did my ex. You know, things kind of went downhill after we lost my mom. Because that gave us some direction. Sorry. I miss my mom, you know? And as weird as it is, I miss my dad too, you know? And so she is with me, you know? There's so many people in our society that even if you told them about this, they couldn't believe it. And I believe that's a massive problem in Western societies. You can point out that they're protecting child killers by lying about a gas station explosion. You can show them the official report and the KETV local news article that they both conflict with each other, and they still don't want to believe it. So yeah, you know, cognitive dissonance is strong with a bunch of people. Hey, Joy. Strong with people. They want to believe what they want to believe. And if it goes against what they want to believe, they'll lie to themselves. And that's more insidious. The lies that we tell ourselves are worse than the lies we tell everybody else. You know, that's the reason why I don't lie. I don't lie. And I'm not a good liar either. You know, I'm not a good liar. I can't remember. That's what makes the truth so much easier, because you can remember. The truth is just recalling what already happened. So I don't have to remember anything. I just have to look back and tell what happened, the truth of what happened. And so we are talking about this. This is my book. It's for $30. Venmo and PayPal. D. Shurter. I'd like to sell one so I can get out of town. But I got nominated for Book of the Year. This is all about Franklin and child trafficking and all the stuff that's going on. Yes, I have. I have seen that podcast. I don't believe any of it. I think it's bullshit. I think they're gatekeepers. I've had to deal with them before. Total gatekeepers. Total liars. Total liars. Same as Sezbar. Wants to be fucking Doug Mesner's girlfriend. Lucian Greaves, you know. I would rather watch a tree grow than watch anything from them. And I didn't know that the dude that's connected with them had befriended me years and years and years ago on Messenger. It wasn't until I called that podcast out that I found out he was directly connected to that. And he'd been my friend on Messenger, and I use that term loosely. You know, strangers that you've never met are not, this is how I classify as a friend. If you're in trouble and you need someone, you call your friend. If you wouldn't call those people, then they're really not your friends. Acquaintances, but not, you know, I believe Fiona. But she's not in it anymore. And she doesn't talk that. I never knew him as that. He totally different name, but same person. And then sent me pictures of himself. Dude, lay off the drugs. That's all I had to say to him was lay off the fucking drugs. You know? I hope she's okay too. I hope she's okay. Kathy O'Brien is real, but that Mark dude that was her partner is CIA. So he was the gatekeeper. So Kathy O'Brien, the sad part about survivors in all of this is that we don't get away from our people very easy. Fiona did. Shit, the only reason why I did is because they made me light that dude on fire when I was 10. Had they been able to keep a hold of me all through my teenage years, I might be singing a different song, because they would have had me, you know. But God saw otherwise, you know, went out otherwise. Damn, this has been going fast. I've almost been on here for 2 hours. I'm probably going to go another half hour, if that's okay with everyone. No. From what I understand years ago, John was part of it, but still, John's a good guy. You know, that was my impression. And how I know that they're good is because I talked years and years and years ago, talked to the children. And I have never met children that were so, they lived the word. But I can't, talking to me is dangerous. And, you know, yeah. And now they've passed laws. I didn't hear this from Fiona, but I heard it from someone else that's down in Australia. They just got done. After Fiona did what she did, Australia has now passed laws. That's the reason why we can't talk anymore. Because they can put her in jail. For the shit that she did and exposed, they can put her in jail for that because they rearranged the laws. They changed the laws in Australia now. So now that's the reason why she took down everything. Because they passed laws to where she would go to jail now. That's why she and I can't talk. You know? She also wants me out of this. That's the last time we talked. She was pretty animate. You know, and I miss those days. And Issac, he was a victim, but Isaac's friends were the Dead Issac Kappy Club. So he was surrounded by fucking criminals, because they're all fucking criminals. And so I don't know, you know. She wants me to stop talking about all this child trafficking. She just wanted me to let God deal with it and get out of it, you know? I can journey to go visit the living. It's called remote viewing, astral projection, but I don't do it. I usually don't do it. I just, you know, I go inside. You know, if I need to know anything, I just go inside and connect with heaven. It's so much more fun. Shamans believe that when you astrally project, if you leave your body, even though it's just consciousness, you leave your body, it leaves your body open to be inhabited. Astral projection is very dangerous. And so I don't do astral projection. I don't leave my body. I don't care what's going on in the world. If there is shit that I need to know, I go inside and ask God and ask heaven, because I believe the kingdom of heaven is inside of us and all around us, but it's definitely inside of us. And so I believe that it's very dangerous to astrally project. That's just my experience as a shaman. You know, shamans call it the middle world. I'm missing out on the conversation as I'm fucking talking. Excuse my language. Most handlers are victims, and it's hard to break away. You know, what Fiona did was just Douglas Mesner. Ooh, I gotta take a screenshot of this. You're not real, but I gotta take a screenshot of it. And now I'm gonna fucking blank you out, motherfucker. Goddamn child trafficker. The bonds of love are never broken. They aren't. I don't believe that either. I believe that the bonds of love stay forever. Bankrupt. And Dougie can say whatever the fuck he wants, but you're being investigated, dumbass. Your shit's all being investigated. You should have never fucking done what you did, you know? And I hear you're not doing well. So pretty soon you're going to end up in the dark, probably sooner than most, you know? He just came on here. You don't see it because but you will. After I get done with this, don't for a moment think I won't post that screenshot. Threatening me. Was going to show up at my door. If you want to read it, as soon as I get done with this and I get the link to this, you know, I'll be posting exactly what I just took a screenshot of. Yeah. Because he's involved and they're all afraid. Because they're all being investigated. The child trafficking shit, it's being instrumented by the whole satanic after-school daycare bullshit. That's the reason why we're seeing it pop up everywhere. You know, that's the reason why we're seeing it pop up everywhere. And he's connected to the fucking CIA. Shane Bugbee said he was connected. That's where I got it. I didn't just pull that out of my ass. There's a reason why Doug Mesner pulled his dick and balls out in front of photographers. They took pictures of it. It was on national news and nothing ever happens to him. Nothing ever happens to him. And he needs to be, that whole satanic temple needs to be investigated. Because what I know about the after-school daycare program is that most of the people that are connected with that are fucking pedophiles. Some of them are convicted pedophiles. And yet that's who you're going to bring into the fucking schools? And that's okay? You know? No, there's no good people fighting child trafficking because they shut us all down. You know? They shut us all down. They fucking kill us. They've tried to me over and over and over. You know? They tried over and over and over, but everyone else, or they get them so afraid that they can't, you know? Fiona, if she did now what she did way back when, they would arrest her. They could arrest her and put her in jail for that. So that's the reason why we don't, you know? it's, and even when we did talk after that, we never really talk about any of this bullshit because it was always, that's what ends up happening is that they just make everybody afraid. Me, fuck, they've tried to kill me. They've tried to put me in jail. You know, that was that whole protection order while Doug Mesner was posting everything. His Toastmaster thing when he told me I was going to be dead soon. Thanks for playing. John Kilrush. Doug Mesner's John Kilrush. You know, he likes the name John Kilrush. He likes to use it a lot. The Underground Railroad, that Sound of Freedom was bullshit. You know, I fear God. I don't fear man. I don't fear man. You know? No. I do have to get off here soon because I'm being beckoned. Would you lay down? And so I'm just to the point where, and you don't know if it's Doug or if it's the Dead Issac Kappy Club, because the Dead Issac Kappy Club is just like that. They have all kinds of fucking fake ass accounts. You know? Every day there's a new sensational story about a missing child. What's up with that? And no mention of the hundreds or thousands of others. That's the reason why they do it. That's the reason why Franklin became all about the Johnny Gosch case. Didn't even talk about the other two boys that got abducted. It was just about Johnny Gosch. And so something that was going on in Omaha suddenly became something about it in another state because they didn't want to talk about the child trafficking. If they wanted to talk about the child trafficking, they would have brought up the case of Todd Beckett. Todd Beckett, who was abducted in the old market, you know? Oh yeah, they've tried to, that's what they're already trying to do that because they want me to actually get all, they want to engage me. First of all, I live rent-free in their heads. And second of all, they're desperate to get me to engage with them and call them out by name, which I do on my blog, but I'm not going to do it on TikTok. I'm not going to do it on YouTube because they want to get my shit taken down. They went on a concerted effort when I was kicked off for a week of trying to get everything taken down. But then YouTube put it back up because I argued and they realized what the hell was going on. And so, but you can see all the notifications I got from YouTube. Again, davidshurter.com. You can see all of it, you know. And, oh, they do want to control me emotionally and they don't. They want to try. They want to get me all, you know, they want to get me all riled up. And it doesn't work anymore because I just really don't care because I find them so pathetic. It's hard to get emotionally involved with them when they're just the nastiest motherfuckers I've ever met. Why would I care? You know, if they were in real life, you would cross the street to avoid them. That's how it would work. And so why would I let them, you know, even though I don't like Madonna, I will quote one of her songs. I'm not going to let strangers give me a social disease, you know, and that's, they're all little minions. They're all little minions, have nothing better to do than watch everything I do, you know, which is funny because I don't watch any of their shit. Even when they post it on my mentions and stuff, I don't even click on it anymore. I did the other day because they compared me to Angela Power at Disney. Again, part of their group, I think. She kept wanting to interview me and get me on and talk about Michael Aquino. And one day she threw a fit that I wouldn't put my camera on when I was talking to her, and it pissed me off so bad. And do you know why I wouldn't put on my camera? Because my ass was sitting on the fucking toilet, and I didn't want to be on camera letting people see me take a shit. And she threw a fit. And, oh, well, we'll get rid of him right away, because no 13-year-old boy needs to be on my channel. Thank you, cognitive. No kids. That's why I said this thing is not meant for kids. You know, it's not meant for kids. Thank you, cognitive. But again, if they're well known, and chances are, if they're fighting, it's all controlled opposition. They're not really fighting. They don't go in public and fight with them. It's controlled opposition. You know? Another example of controlled opposition is Neil Brick and his SMART conference and Doug Mesner. You know? Again, controlled opposition. They all act like they're enemies, but if you watch them closely, you'll find that they're all together. They go on each other's shit and then support each other. It's not going to deal with it, you know? And these are just my opinions. They're just from my personal experiences. I'm just telling you what I have personally experienced and what I deal with, you know? But I'm not connected with any of them, let alone the one that the dead Issac Kappy club member who just is obsessed with me wants to say that we're working hand in hand. No, we're not working hand in hand. You know? I'm sorry, I should have. They are afraid of me. They're afraid of being investigated. They're not afraid of me. They're afraid of people listening to me and actually authority figures listening to me and then investigating what I said. They're not afraid of me. They're afraid of the truth. That's what they're afraid of. You know, it's not me. I assure you, they're not afraid of me personally. They are so not afraid of me personally. They come at me all the fucking time. They're not afraid of me. They weren't afraid of me when they were fucking throwing it in my face that they were in my town and took out. Oh, Jesus. Dude, get a fucking life. Satanic Temple, Iowa. I'll just take a screenshot because you're a dumbass. Fucking dumbasses. Don't have anything to do. It's just kind of pathetic. You know? It's kind of pathetic. In fact, it's not kind of pathetic. It is pathetic. Child trafficking. That's what this thing is about. Me exposing child trafficking. My book, Rabbit Hole. I got nominated Book of the Year when I published it. The Satanic Ritual Abuse Survivor Story, all about Omaha, the child trafficking that was going on in the 80s. But I grew up in all of this. That's what it's about. PayPal, Venmo, $30. D. Shurter. Just my first initial, my last name. First initial, last name. And yes, completely related to Bohemian Grove. Been to Bohemian Grove. Peter Chernoff. Everyone talks about me talking about Bohemian Grove. Everyone talks about Fiona Barnett talking about Bohemian Grove, but everybody forgets about Peter Chernoff. And I've met Peter Chernoff, and I know he's real, and I know he's a good guy. I have definitely been to the Bohemian Grove. Been there for sacrifice. Never been there with the cremation of care ceremony, but then that's all the bullshit that they want everyone to focus on. It's in the off season that the real shit happens. That nasty smelling pond thing in front of that goddamn owl statue, you know? But I will say that there were some people who filmed in the Bohemian Grove, and I saw that shit, and they were in the Bohemian Grove. I know that what they were filming was legit, because even it was dark, because it was at night. But I was taken because of my family, you know? I don't know who that is, but keep putting all of this shit up because I'm going to take screenshots and then I'm going to post it on my blog, you know? Is it Dancer? Was that his name? I know that it was real. I recognized, you know? But the cremation of care isn't, you know? But then they burn a child effigy during the cremation of care. Doesn't anyone find that even just a little bit weird, you know? The thing about it is that the cults, oh, they will if he's not one of them. I don't know how he got in there. That's the question. There's 2 gates. You get past the first gate, they'll shoot you dead before you get to the second gate. I don't know how he got in there, you know? Yeah, he had the owl statue. They were doing shit in front of the owl statue. When I was there, it was little boys, little prepubescent boys. There weren't animals. We didn't sacrifice animals. It was all prepubescent white boys. That's what I experienced. Now, my siblings, my older siblings will say that it was anybody, man, boy, girl, didn't matter the age. They just murdered whoever they wanted to. But when I grew up, when I was a kid, when I was in Hummel Park, and the 3 times that I was in Bohemian Grove, but my dad owned a plane. We flew everywhere. That's the reason why I can't say for certain that the Oakland 4 were my dad and the people that my dad were with, but my dad was from Michigan. And the Oakland 4 came about because the shit from Franklin was starting to break apart in the 70s. And all of a sudden, then you had 4 ritually abused and murdered children. And they knew that they were ritually abused because they were laid out ritually. I mean, I was under the age of 10. And my dad was a high priest. He wore a red robe. He was a high priest. He was involved with blood sacrifice. You know, my dad was heavy involved with it. And I was being groomed to take my father's place. That's what I was supposed to do. But then they made me light that dude on fire, and it fried me because I wasn't drugged. And it break. That's the shit. What happened? I went to a mental institution basically a year. That happened when I was 13. That all the bad shit happened with my nephew when I was 13. A week after I turned 14, I ended up in a fucking mental institution for 5 months because I was having a psychotic break over being forced to light that guy on fire. And that tells you how strong I was as a kid, because that happened when I was 10 and I didn't end up into a mental institution until I was 14, you know? Yeah, my dad sold all of us, and made me fucking be there when they were fucking slicing and dicing boys, cutting out their hearts, sacrificing them. Then they drink the fucking blood, and then I'd get gang raped. It was wonderful, wonderful memories of my childhood, you know? And then people wonder why I get irritated by talking about all this shit, because I just want it investigated. And Doug Mesner can say whatever the fuck he wants, but his whole long ass history is silencing survivors. That was the whole thing with Lori King and murdering Lori King. Amber Volatin directly connected to Doug Mesner. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. You know, nobody has a friend show up at their house unannounced, picks them up, takes them the 2.5 hours back to their friend's house, and then ends up committing suicide at their friend's house. But then that's the same thing as nobody fucking commits suicide and has a deluxe 2 CD set that people can pay for $100 and get your autopsy photos and everything else like they did Issac Kappy. The Memphis 3 was real. And those boys were involved, but they weren't alone. They weren't alone. And Johnny Depp, his life hasn't gotten any better. Fucking friends with Hunter Thompson, you know? You can ask me whatever questions you want. I'm pretty much an open book. I don't want to instigate any more questions about you specifically, as I can see how much talking about it affects you. However, I am curious about high-profile individuals' involvement. Can you name any? I can name a lot and have a lot. You know? I wrote it in a goddamn book, $30. You know? I'll inscribe it. I talk about all kinds of names. I always have for years. What good is it talking about any of this shit if you're not going to talk about the people who were there? You know? That's the whole thing. But people don't want to hear who was there. They don't want to know that along with Michael Aquino, Fred Trump was always there too. You know? Nobody wants to know that. They don't want to hear about it. You know? And it's $30 for me. It costs $30. These cost me $10, and then it cost me $5 to sell. So I make $15 off of this book, sending it out. You know, they have been covering it up, totally. You know, totally. The only reason why they can't stand me is because I'm really good at the things that Michael Aquino and his group trained me to do. And they can say that it didn't happen, and they can tell anybody any lie they want to tell anybody, but it doesn't change what I was trained to do and what I know how to do. You know? Oh yeah, they always pin it on the one person, and the person that they pin it on is always the person that they had nothing to do with it. Have you heard of the Hugh Edwards story happening in the UK recently? I have not heard about that. I have not heard about that. Yes, I'm talking about Donald Trump's dad. Fred Trump was in Hummel Park every fucking time, along with Michael Aquino and Alan Baer. They were constants. My dad was a constant. Lots of people involved. Lots of rich people involved. There were no poor people involved. They were all really rich and really well connected. You know, that's the reason why, because Jeffrey Epstein, Franklin was a precursor to Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein's thing isn't new. Just like P. His shit is like what was happening with Jeffrey Epstein. Exactly what was happening. You know, it's all the same shit. You're not supposed to talk about stuff because you're not supposed to say, but all I'll say about the Twin Towers and the Pentagon is that I just find it interesting that are not talking about the secret society that wear owl masks in the woods. They're being protected by the Satanic Temple, you know? And there's a lot of places. That ranch that Scalia ended up dead at, that was involved. That they were doing the same thing at that ranch that they do in Bohemian Grove. You know? Same thing. Oh yeah, some kind of surveillance is going on. Of course, they're all in here. They're all in here. This I'm going to stop here soon because this will be one I want to watch because I want to see how much is going to be garbled. Some kind of surveillance is going on because your image is blurred and a lot of comments you read are not on my screen. I am in Houston, Texas. Funny about Houston, Texas, the same shit that was happening in Franklin in the 80s at the very same time was going on in Houston, Texas. Boys for Sale. You can go watch the documentary on YouTube. Dr. Tom Philpott, who also committed suicide, you know? defend them and get bounced. Right. Right. That's cognitive knows me so well. You know? Boys for Sale, Houston. Right. When I go into specifics, because they're doing everything they can. I have 21 people in here. They're watching everything I do right now because it's all government. They're all trying to close it down. Thank you, cognitive. Yeah, they suicide everyone. You know, the only reason why they haven't done it to me is because I am so out here all the time. And I live in small town Iowa. They ain't gonna make me just disappear or commit suicide and not have people ask questions. That's what's great about living back in small town Iowa, because I'm kind of, lots of people know about me in town, you know, let alone in Omaha. I don't know anything about Prince Andrew. Never dealt with Prince Andrew. But Prince Andrew isn't into boys, he's into little girls. Do you know that I didn't even know that there was a female component to any of this until I met Fiona Barnett? Because for me, it was all guys. It was all guys. I mean, yeah, there were women. I mean, those stairs in Hummel Park were full of people having sex with kids and dogs and animals. I mean, it was disgusting. But in Hummel Park, in the pavilion, all men. There were no women. It was all men. I thought it was all men. You know, Bohemian Grove, all men. I didn't even know there was a female component to this. I should have, because my sisters were involved. So there had to have been some women involved. But I didn't realize that there was, you know, Chester Bennington. I don't know who he is either. Comment deleted. I haven't deleted anybody's comment. You have the right eyes on you. They didn't keep going. You have the right eyes on you. Thank you, Heather. That's the whole thing, is that's what I believe. I believe that there are people who are watching, who are listening to what I have to say. All I'm asking is for you to investigate it. That's all I'm asking. Just investigate it. You don't have to take my word for it. In fact, I'd rather you not take my word for it. If you're an investigator, fuck, investigate me too. Just investigate what I'm saying, you know? And notice how the Podesta stuff, the Podesta files and Hillary Clinton, suddenly after we had the Podesta bullshit, that's when Pizzagate came up. And Pizzagate is Mike Aquino, CIA. That's what it is. Because they did Pizzagate in order to make it out to be so stupid. It's the same thing they did with McMartin. They made McMartin seem like it was crazy, so everybody just dismissed what was coming out then. Ooh, I have to get off here soon because I have 10% battery. Screen recording now. So then they were hoping that everything would go away with Pizzagate. But Pizzagate didn't make it go away. It fed it. It made people more incensed. So that dude went in and shot up Comet Pizza, where they were saying kids were in the basement, but there was no basement. Yep. Pompeo was involved. Pompeo is involved. I used to email him on X, Twitter, but then he blocked me. I used he used to be part of my contacts because I like to harass the people who are involved. Pompeo was definitely involved, you know. Grassley. I email Grassley now. Grassley he's someone on X. Every time I do a video and I send this shit out, oh yeah, I send it out to Chuck Grassley. Are you kidding? You know? They're all connected. I don't play any games. And I'm not gonna fucking, you know? Who's the most high profile character? George Bush Sr. was there. Warren Buffett. Do you really think that Warren Buffett made all of his money when everyone was losing their shirts? You think that Warren Buffett didn't know what the fuck was going on in the old market and Hummel Park? You really think the richest man at the time didn't know what the fuck was happening in his own hometown? Didn't know. Really? That's what you think? You know? Mike Reagan. Don't know who Mike Reagan was. I don't know who Mike Reagan is. But there were a lot of people in town who were involved. You know? Dick Bishop. Dick Bishop was help running the drugs. The Hells Angels lived right above him. They were the ones helping doing all the trafficking with the drugs. And the you know, and then if you go look at it, my sister's friend, Kevin Dobson, he's in jail. Do you know that Kevin Dobson is the one they took down the drug dealer because of Kevin Dobson and Dylan? I had that paperwork is there too. They were the ones. Escobar's nephew. They brought down Escobar's nephew, and that's what brought down Escobar. That's how they got it, Kevin Dobson. You know, and all this shit is, it's government paperwork. You can easily access it. Kevin Dobson. I don't think he's alive anymore, but Kevin Dobson. You know, I don't live close to the Grove at all. I lived in Omaha, Nebraska at the time. Don't use the D word on my... See, your kids should not be on this app. Your kids shouldn't be listening to this. This is not... That's the reason why when I did the description, no kids. It's not meant for kids. The stuff that I'm talking about is not meant for kids. You know, your kids have no business listening to this shit. And you, as a parent, it makes me question your parenting. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel. You know? Fuck, I'm at 2:30 and now things are just starting to get good because I'm now getting involved into the whole gist of the shit that was going on. Stuff that I've talked about for years. DavidShurter.com. You can go look at DavidShurter.com. There's a little search bar that's on the right side, a little ways down. Go start typing in names. Shit will come up. Type in stuff. Stuff will come up, I assure you. I've had that blog since 2011. You know? Yeah. Your kids should not be on my YouTube stream. That's why I said it was not for kids. You know? I had a 13-year-old, Cognitive told me he was 13, I blocked him. I don't want kids listening to any of this. What are they going to do? It's just going to stress them out. You know? I'm not into child abuse. You know? And I'm not into helping other people do child abuse. But unfortunately, I am going to have to get off here because I have 8% left to my battery. I got to go plug in my phone. But if you guys have questions, David at davidshurter.com. Email me. Ask me your questions. You know? If you're a normal person, I'll answer them. You know? I have clips on Grassley, Scalia, Pompeo, and Fred Trump at Hummel Park Ritual Center. Cool. Not hard to find. I mean, I wouldn't think that it would be hard to find at all. And I'm pretty much an open book. And shit, they're trying to bring me down with their goddamn directed energy weapons. So fuck, you better ask me soon. God only knows, you know? That's just it. If you guys want to, you know, if you guys want to donate, my Venmo and my PayPal are D Shurter. If you want to spend $30, buy my book. Just tell me who I have to inscribe it to. Give me an address where I have to send it. $30. You can get my book. You know, Rabbit Hole, actually, my blog has so much information. I have damn near 2,000 articles on my blog from 2011 on, talking about all this shit. Naming names, you know, naming names, all of that stuff. And I want this exposed. Oh, damn it. Okay, sorry. I just want this exposed. I want this stopped is what I want. I want it exposed and I want it stopped. You know, that's what I want. Yeah, content like this won't be available to them, especially when I say it's not for kids. when I set this up, when I did this video, I do it for every video. They ask you, is this video designed for kids? Is this video not? And I always say, this video is not just, nothing I put on here is kid friendly. You know, I don't want kids watching my videos. They have no business watching them. Don't they have enough to deal with? If you want to help your kids, stranger danger. Tell them that there are people out there who only mean them harm, you know, and let them know. Protect your kids. Knowledge is something, but my streams are not meant for kids. They don't need to hear about the stuff that I talk about. And I swear a great deal. I'm trying to calm down on the swearing, but I have a tendency to talk like a sailor sometimes. And so, you know, but again, if you're an investigator and you're looking into this, the Dead Issac Kappy Club, you want to know who I'm talking about, go to davidshurter.com, go look in the tags. I'll make sure that I tag every fucking one of them when I put this video on, you know? And I'll post the stuff, the comments that I took screenshots of. But you'll see the Dead Issac Kappy Club, Lucian Greaves, this founder of the Satanic Temple, and the Satanic Temple. That all needs to be investigated. All of them need to be investigated because they're all involved, you know? Lori King, her death needs to be looked at. Her husband, who died less than a year later, that needs to be investigated. I don't even know how he fucking died. Maybe he committed suicide too. It seems like they all commit suicide, you know? And so that's just, you know, no, I've been on here for 2 hours and 36 minutes and I'm losing my battery. It's going to go dead here soon. So as much as it's going to irritate some of you, I'm going to pray. So I like to pray at the end, and then I'm going to have to end it. Father, I come to you. Please, please let the right people here, especially, I'm really glad I came on here today. I felt compelled to come on here because I had just done one yesterday, and I know that you'd sent someone, if you didn't do it yourself, to compel me to come on here, because I came on, and I think that this is probably one of the best that I've done. The last few live sessions have been really, really good. The history, the one that I talk about, the history of all of this in my family, I hope that the right people, I'm begging you to have the right people who can investigate this and actually have the authority to do something about this, you know? Have them investigate Dougie and his Satanic Temple and the Dead Issac Kappy Club and all of that. Have this investigated. It won't be easy, or it won't be hard to find. They're dumbasses, and you know they're dumbasses. Expose them. Bring their shit out into the light like it was promised. And I thank you for the word. I thank you for compelling me to just... Following you and being your servant has been difficult. It has sucked more than once. But I just have faith that in the end it'll be all worth it. And I thank you for saving me, because it was your son's teaching on the word that helped guide me onto the path that I am now. And I can't tell you how grateful I am for that. That I didn't end up one of them. Because there's nothing worse in life than ending up being one of them. And I just thank you for everything that you do. And I say these things lovingly and gratefully in your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, so that's it. I got to get off here because I'm losing the video. Funny, before I prayed, I had 22 people. And now I have 8. How many members of the Dead Issac Kappy Club and the Satanic Temple do you think were on here? Because I had 22 when I started my prayer, and it dropped down. Now I have 9. You know? Interesting how that works. You know? But this is what I have to say, and I'm just... thank you, everyone. You guys you made me feel better. I'm not so stressed. If I can't get out here today, I'll be okay. I might even go down and sew. Or I may go take a bath. I mean, that's relaxing. My book, PayPal, Venmo, I'm selling them for $30. I only make 15 from this book when I sell them. Because it cost me $10 to buy from Amazon and it cost me $5 to ship it. So I'm only making 15. It's not like you get rich. The only people who get rich writing books are Stephen King, and that's because he churns out, a book every year, you know? And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. I'll be back on here this week. You know I will. I'm starting to dig these live things because I like reading your guys' stuff. And more than that, I like your questions. I like you asking me questions so that I have something to answer because I feel like I'm repeating myself. Ooh, I have 3% to my battery now. It's time for me to get off here and go charge my phone. But thank you so much, everyone. And I can't thank you enough. I was grateful for the questions today because I don't know exactly what to talk about sometimes because this is all stuff that I've been droning on and on and on about for decades. And so I don't know what people want to hear and what you already know. And so I'm just appreciative that you guys come on and actually ask questions. And I'm able to answer questions. That's it. I'm very grateful for that. So with that said, bye guys. David at davidshurter.com if you need to get a hold of me through email.